this will just be a moment of silence. And so I'll let people read the definition.
Is it supposed to be on the screen, Rick? Because I don't see it.
Oh, no, it's in the chat box. Sorry.
Oh, okay, in the chat box.
Yeah,
There's
actually,
link
that's
to the chat.
next time. That's a refinement we can do next time. We can put it into the you know, as a onto the screen itself for people who are actually, maybe I should read it, because there are some people who may be listening to this and they may not have an opportunity
Oh,
to.
that's right. Not everyone's on the
Yeah.
screen.
Okay. So anyway, cultural competence is learning about and understanding other people's cultural customs, value systems, beliefs, perspective, norms, and paradigms, ways of relating, knowing, interpreting, and sense-making. Cultural sensitivity is about using this knowledge in ways that build bridges of mutual respect and trust that minimizes the risks of creating misunderstandings. When cultural competence is applied in transactional ways, it becomes a checkbox of knowledge and skills about dealing with different cultures. Cultural competence runs the risk of falling into the superior trap of the one-up position, assuming to know. And we've all done this in our lifetime at some point. So you need to have humility to accept this definition. So anyway, so that's that. And then what I would do is I'm just going to quickly put in the box here, and the actual updated version is trying to encapsulate the meaning of, let me just, there we go. And then let me just put this in here. So people can, when we're going to break into small groups for about 10 minutes in pairs, and so that people have an opportunity to look at this and sort of try and make sense of it from your perspective. Anyway, this is on cultural humility. Curiosity and caring underlines the spirit of cultural humility, to be kind and fair in ways that create safe spaces and trusting environments where people can express their authentic selves and retain autonomy over their personal and professional boundaries. Cultural humility involves taking the one down position of not knowing and not assuming in ways that suspends our biases. This position calls for the equanimity of self-awareness. This relational process of curiosity enables one to explore differences in cultures needed to build bridges based on developing shared understandings. This discovery process involves learning about the dynamics of isms, inequities, diversity, and their negative impacts on the sense of inclusion and belonging. Those are brief definitions. And so what I thought we'd do is maybe set up two. This is an opportunity for networking as well, for people to be able to actually process. And Carol and I will stay in this room so that we'll continue our conversation, but the rest of you will break into pairs and just 5 minutes to have a conversation. It's just what comes top of mind in terms of contrasting the definitions between cultural competence and cultural humility. So David, could you set up, and then we'll do one more 5 minute. We'll quickly, so you have an opportunity. One of the main purposes is to network and make with connections with people you haven't met with before. And I hope people will share their LinkedIn profile so that you can connect with people, because this needs to be an ongoing, iterative conversation of understanding the concepts, storytelling, and more importantly, doing something about it. Okay.
Yes.
So, David, could you keep Carol and I in the same room and let other people have a 5 minute chat, make a connection, and see what these two concepts means to them?
Hi, David. I think I just joined during the
breaking out rooms. Assignment. Can someone assign me to the room?
Hi, Monica. And so I think I joined around the same time that you did, probably.
Yeah. Oh, so you are too. Okay, perfect. So you don't know?
Yeah. Did you know what the question was?
I just joined. This is so funny. No, I have no idea. Oh, there's a chance someone can help us. Hi, Rick.
Oh, you're muted, Rick.
You are muted, Rick. We cannot hear you. Perfect.
I disappeared, but I need to leave. Let me leave because I need to be back in the other room.
It's so funny. I love that. So you're gonna have fun story. I hope that we don't need to wait that long.
It's perfectly fine. It's like,
Do you want to chat?
Sure.
Yeah.
So
are you first time here? And
Rick, are you there? Rick? Hi, I don't know what happened. I think David moved me into another room. I can't hear you.
Yeah, we're just working out logistics here, I'm afraid. But
I wasn't sure where I was.
but you were saying
Trump was punishing me for saying that.
Well, actually, I think the point is, is that cultural humility is a way of, this applies to any polarized situation.
Yes, I'm sure.
It doesn't make any difference what it is, whether it's abortion, whatever.
Yes.
How can you begin to have a conversation? And, if one is not even aware that you're taking a position of cultural competence perspective, so to speak, of maybe knowing better, and you can't even become aware of what it means to become culturally, have a stance of cultural humility and understanding somebody from their perspective, what makes them tick. It's very difficult to, reach common ground.
Right. But should that be a goal of wanting to reach common ground if someone's a murderer or?
No, I don't think so at all. No, absolutely not. I think the idea that you just have to know when you apply. The challenge, I think, is where you have too much dichotomy, and people are rigid about it and they overgeneralize it. There are rights and wrongs, no question about it. But when you apply that type of thinking across the board to all sort of complex situations, that's where it runs afoul.
I agree completely.
Yeah. So it's very difficult for people to even appreciate, how to become aware of that, So.
Well, I'm a student of anthropology, so I truly love learning about cultures, and I always tell people I know this much, maybe this much, but as a team, we can know that much.
I think people are coming back to the group. I think David, I don't see David on the screen. I hope our master. Yeah, there he is.
Yes, Rick. You rang.
Yeah.
We have more people. Hi,
yeah, they're coming back. And we got to get our call on the board.
Hello, Monica.
Absolutely, David. I'm just in the car right now, so I'm a little incognito.
All good, all good.
Hi,
welcome back, everybody.
Monica, hi.
Hey, Sammy.
So anyway, I this is sort of doing things a little bit in the flow. I was going to have a second breakout room, but I think because of time drifting by, we'll have to just focus on this opportunity to maybe just share some quick reactions in terms of delineating the difference between cultural competence in cultural humility, based upon your brief conversations. I mean, this is something that needs to be done iteratively over time. These are complex concepts, and the article goes into more details for this. But would anybody like to share a quick reaction about trying to understand the conceptual differences? Ladies first, by the way. Go ahead.
Rick, I actually teach all the time the difference between a more individualistic way of seeing the world and communicating and a more relational. And you actually use the relational term and then transactional. And I think it's really appropriate. And I appreciate your saying that you need to bring yourself down. But and again, that to me, that's through the lens of who's up and who's down. Whereas many of us look through the lens of how do we connect, and don't see ourselves necessarily as up or down.
That's a great point, Benita.
Well, and yet I know that you have your approach is very valuable, talking about the difference between transactional and what I presume would be transformational. So I'm all ears.
Yeah, just to add a little bit more, subtlety to the issue. I mean, you can have one-to-one, one up, one down, and that relational process is dynamic. And for a position of cultural humility, you are taking mostly a one down. It might be one-to-one, but it's certainly not a one-up position. Yeah. But just becoming conscious of making that delineation in your own mind is how you're interacting with people. You may not even be aware that you're perceived as you're taking the one-up position to other people. And if you're not aware of that, that's going to run into problems. So, that simple heuristic of thinking about relational process can help self-awareness about oneself in relationship to others, but, you can make people more aware of that as well. So
I'd like to hear from
connecting with you and what you're doing, that rather than trying to prove that I have a different way that's more important. So it's interesting. Thanks, Rick. Yeah.
I'd like to hear from Dominique. Dominique, did you just join us or were you in a breakout room?
I had joined right before the breakout rooms just occurred, so I had missed, and so like a little bit of the beginning. So Monica and I had joined around the same time, so I had missed a little bit of the beginning topic. But I do have I have a background, and so within HR and as well as a DEI consultant. So that's what brought me here today.
Well, that's great that you have that background, because that's such a relevant perspective of what we're talking about. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go into the next phase of this, which is I'd like to leave a minute of silence for people to reflect about their own personal, professional, or a story that they actually witnessed where they felt that things were handled unfairly, either in terms of isms or inequities, something that comes top of mind, and just have a 1 minute silence. And then what we'd like to do is to break into groups of 3, where each person will have about 4 minutes to share the essence of their story. I've written from the last session, actually, I updated my, I created a new blog, actually, just sharing my own personal story. And everyone has something from their life experience that they can not only share, but other people could benefit from the lessons they learned from it. So we'll just have a minute of silence. And then David, when 1 minute is up, you can just put people into groups of 3 for 15 minutes. And I'll let people self-regulate, make sure everyone has an opportunity to tell the essence of their story. So just 1 minute silence, and then we'll shift into the breakout rooms.
Okay, ready, Rick?
Yep, that sounds good. Yeah, break into groups of 3.
You want 15 minutes, Rick, right? You're on mute.
On live Zoom.
What's that?
Okay, if you can bring him back. Otherwise, we don't
Bring
have.
Carolyn back.
Yeah, yeah.
That's okay. And I'll just replace. Okay, so you want her back here with you? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's the way it was. Yeah,
And I'll jump into her room.
yeah, because we were supposed to be talking so that people could hear up, her share her story. Okay.
Yeah. She might be able to reject it. So I don't know.